I am hypoxic for just right now. My brain's dead, but I will keep trying. When was the last time you thought you were creative? I don't know about you guys. Mine goes back to 1992. During my engineering days, there was this beautiful lady who taught us a subject on electronics. And she was the only reason I accept that I attended that course. But then she gave us a shock one particular day, stating that the next day at 8 a.m. there's going to be a test on the subject. Well, I decided I can't take it. My reputation was at stake. If I did take it, I knew I would flunk. So I had to come up with some idea, and I did. I just slept the whole night peacefully. The test was supposed to be at 8 a.m. I reached my college at around 10:15. The test was done, so here's my opportunity to impress my lecturer. So I went straight to her, ruffled hair, dreary eyes, wrinkled shirt, and a flip-flop on. I go to her, folded hands. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I was reading, preparing for the subject the whole night, and then in the morning I overslept. That was my excuse. Had her in splits, laughing. But then she told me, Murali, what do you take me for? A fool to believe that excuse? But guess what? I think that was the most creative excuse anybody has ever told me in my lifetime. So I'll give it to you. You don't have to take the test, and whatever's the average for the rest of the test going forward, that's what you will get. Creativity helped. Not the best, and I don't want the kids to learn from me, but it worked. So what then is creativity? Creativity has different definitions on the web, but to me, it's simply thinking out of the box. To come up with something extraordinary, to imagine, to use your imaginations to come out with something, a new idea, a new thing that's totally different from what exists today. What exists today is also creative some time ago, because nobody had thought of it. But for now, you have to think something out of the box. And this is exactly what Dr. Sam Nicholas from Rowan University in New Jersey decided to do. He started the Odyssey of the Mind program to enhance and encourage creativity in kids. Back in 1978, he started giving out simple problems to his students. And his idea was that creativity can be taught. I was under the assumption that people are born creative. I was wrong. I proved it, I should say, when I took up the role of a coach 2 years ago to coach a team of the Odyssey of the Mind at my daughter's school. And yes, creativity can be taught. You need not be born with it. And what did he do to do that? He gave open-ended questions. By open-ended questions, I mean, say for example, his problem was to say, build a boat to transport yourself from one edge of the pond to the other. Now, is that an open-ended question? No, because by saying build a boat, you're already constricting their imagination. So what you would do is, you would say, build a device or a mechanism to transport yourself from one end of the pond to the other. Now, there you go. It goes on. It's open-ended. You could think of anything. It could be a boat. It could be something else. But then to encourage creativity on these open-ended questions, you would impose certain constraints. He went on to say, this is the first time he did it with the boat experiment. He said, you cannot use gasoline. The cost should not be more than $5 back in 78. So he started imposing those constraints, and that enabled kids to improve their creativity. And did they come up with a solution? Yes, they did. Did it work? No. But then, given time and money, probably, it would have worked. The idea was the important thing there, the process behind your thinking. not the ultimate product. Because he had given them 3 weeks or so to come up with a solution, and he had suggested only $5. So he imposed those constraints to enhance the creativity. And what is Odyssey of the Mind then? The competition itself consists of 3 parts. One is the long-term problem, wherein you are given a problem 3 to 4 months prior, and kids need to work on this. Adults can't help anything. They can't give out ideas. Coach does not give out ideas. So they have to come up with a solution for this long-term problem on their own. And then there is the spontaneous part, wherein the kids are given a problem right on the spot on the day of the competition. So they don't know what their question is. So they need to come up with a solution for that. And I personally like this part, wherein they have to come up with a creative idea on the spot, and they are scored on their creativity. And then there is style, of course, wherein you have to come up with a performance using a skit or dialogues, poetry, and whatnot. These are the different problems, categories of problems. I highlight structure because that's the thing that I'm coaching. They need to build a structure out of balsa wood. If you all know what balsa wood is, it's the lightest wood available out there. They need to build a structure out of 18 grams, just 18 grams of balsa wood, and it needs to hold as much weight as it can. There are different techniques to enhance creativity. One is brainstorming, wherein people come up with all sorts of ideas, and then they go separate them with saying, okay, these are the common ideas because we all came up with the same things, and then these could be the creative ones, and then they come up with, choose one among those creative ideas to present. Piggyback, where do you think I got the idea from of using that as an excuse for my excuse to my lecturer that day? It's none other than my beloved Gandhi. I don't know how many of you know, but he had to come up with an excuse one day when he was late for school, and he came up with an excuse, a real one there, that because he didn't have wristwatch or clock at home that day, and it was very cloudy and dark, he didn't realize that it was time for school. So he escaped the punishment from his teacher. I used that. Not in the right way, not something that I will be proud of, but I did. And that's what piggybacking is about. And then there is a whole, it's an acronym, SCAMPER. It's an acronym for a technique that we use. Lack of time, I'm going to pass forward. This award is called the Renata Fusca Award. Remember the problem that Dr. Michaelis gave the students to build something to transport? This is the idea. And he was so impressed with this idea. It didn't work, but he was so impressed with the idea that now Odyssey of the Mind has Renata Fusca given to only those ideas that they think is the most creative. It's very hard to get one of these awards. And it's called Renata Fusca because that contraption model that they came up with resembles that insect, the bug that's shown on the right side. Rewards, kids, they have a lot of fun. They make a lot of friends, and of course, it builds improved self-esteem and confidence. Same with the coach. On the coach side, though, it's nothing but patience, patience, and patience. You come out with a lot of patience after coaching these kids. And this is something that my daughter was involved in. I talked about the structure. They went on to hold 605 pounds during the regional competition. The smile, I don't think anything can beat that on their faces. This is not something that they won yet. They are just happy that they did something that they didn't believe that they could do. 605 pounds on 18 grams of balsa wood. And they went on to the state, they learned their lessons, they increased it to 805 pounds. And then while I was coming up with this material, I realized that how Toastmasters is pretty similar to the Odyssey of the Mind. Look at it, long term is prepared speeches. You are given 5 to 7 minutes to do something. You are given some time. You can get as creative as you want to. Spontaneous is our table topics. Go crazy. Style is our presentation and delivery, and benefits are pretty much the same. So I've been lucky to have 2 things, Odyssey of the Mind and Toastmasters. And finally, I got to say creativity is contagious because more and more people and more teams are signing up for this adventure. I'll leave you with this, saying that creativity is contagious, and how do you think out of the box? This is a puzzle. Connect all the dots using 4 lines, not more than 4 lines. Thank you.